much for accepting our invitation. To
Thank
have
you
you
so much for
over,
inviting.
to have you over is genuinely overwhelming. We've seen your posts, your tips, we've taken your guidance from various sources, and to actually have you answer our questions is something which makes us feel elated.
Right, right. Thank you so much for having me on board. Also, I'm always excited for such interactions with people who are still in law school, who graduated out of law school, etc. So yeah, it's a very unique experience for me.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, so to start with, you've ticked all the correct boxes when it comes to a legal career. You are in a very leading law school. From there on, you interned at the places where you wanted to. It was in the
Right.
same direction. You also were an associate in various top tier law firms. And eventually, you decided to have your own entrepreneurial journey. Ma'am, so
Right.
what sparked this interest from changing the whole setup?
Right. So I think, see, I think it started while I was in law school. So in law school we get a job in the fourth year itself if you are going on the rank. So you already have like the fifth year to yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in that setup, what happened was that I was very free in my fifth year because I was like, I already have a job, so I don't
Mm-hmm.
even need to put in so much effort in my studies.
True.
I don't need to go for an internship. So I was like really free in my fifth year. And that's when it struck me that I can start helping other people generally. So let's say not all my friends had gotten a job. So I started
Mm-hmm.
helping them. A lot of people from other law schools, as in my friends from other law schools, they started reaching out to me for help on resume, on how to crack an interview. I started conducting generally, at that time, obviously for free, mock sessions for them. कि, okay, this is the mistake you're doing. This is not how you're supposed to do it. So, as we would call it in student language, I started giving a lot of free gyan to people. कि नहीं नहीं ऐसे करना है, ऐसे नहीं करना है, etc. So I think the seed of coaching was planted at that time only. कि I have to do it. And even while I was at my jobs, like say at Shardul Amachan and Dua Associates, a lot of my say co-associates or say interns etc. used to always reach out to me for like random help. So like say
Mm-hmm.
some associate wanted to change their job, so they were like, okay, we don't know how to now draft a proper resume again for say changing a job. Or like say there was an intern who was say about to sit for an interview. They used to always come up to me and say that how should we prepare. So I feel that it was a very very organic choice for me. So after I left Dua, I felt that this choice was really the most obvious thing for me to do. That okay, like if I'm not being in a law firm, I might as well just tell people how to be. So I
Ma'am,
think that.
but to realize this itself in like 2017, 2018 would itself have been very interesting because even right
Right,
now this is not mainstream. It is
right,
still
right.
looked down upon in some sense that why are you taking help? What help do
Definitely,
you need? And to
definitely.
and right now even law schools are not catering to it. So which
Exactly,
brings me to
exactly.
my
They're not
second.
very receptive to it. Ki, matlab, they're like, ki, okay, like I don't think our students would need any
Exactly.
coaching or why do they need any help with their resume? It's just a simple format. But I think maybe say with time, I think the awareness is increasing. A lot of law schools are taking part in such activities as well, thankfully now. But yeah, I think it's going to still take a few
Uh,
more years,
a
to
lot of
come at.
law students would be again wasted until they realize that
Yes,
it needs to be done.
unfortunately, yes, yes, yes.
Ma'am, this brings me to my second question in regards with, do you think this curriculum should change? A lot of law students are questioning this 5 year long course. This might be the longest course in our education system, this and architecture if I'm not wrong. Even medical
Right.
and engineering are for 4 years. Ma'am, so in your opinion of what experience you have, do you think they should reduce the years or change the curriculum?
I think, see, about the curriculum, honestly speaking, the curriculum is okay, but I think the pace at which it is taught, I feel, should be changed. So, for
Mm-hmm.
instance, a lot of law schools are teaching Companies Act, in the final year of law school.
Exactly.
It has no point. Like, people would have already done internships. People would have,
Mm-hmm.
some of them would have even gotten a PPO, right? Like, you can take an example from my own my friend's journey. Like he had gotten a PPO in the fourth year itself from a competition team of a law firm, a leading law firm of a country,
Okay.
and we were taught competition law in the 10th semester, right? So he knew more than what we were being taught at a basic level in the 10th semester. So I feel that equal emphasis should be given to other relevant subjects as well. So, like, say, a lot of emphasis is put only on constitutional laws, while we
Mm-hmm.
are studying in law school, or only on property laws in the initial years of law school, or say only on procedural laws. I feel that corporatization of laws happens very later in the law school. So, I think that is something that can be done prior to that. And I think the later years of law school should be given, students should be given a free hand in the sense to A, choose electives that whatever they want to study,
Mm-hmm.
and secondly, to intern as much as they would want to. Like, I've seen students struggling to just do an internship because the law school is not providing for proper
Very true.
attendance,
Yes,
like they're
ma'am.
not letting them go for an internship, right? So I think free hand in terms of choosing what you want to study in the later years of law school in terms of electives, and secondly allowing a free hand in terms of internships should ideally be the case, and all serious study should get over by, like, say, the third year ending or so, so that the final 2 years are reserved for practical approach.
And this is exactly what we feel, especially in my college, NMIMS, it is 85% attendance. So you just don't
And
have any
85 is
scope.
a lot. Like I had while I was in NLU Jodhpur, we had like 70% and we used to struggle for 70% also.
Exactly.
So 85 is a lot, I feel. So yeah, I
And
completely
I
agree.
do agree to the fact that we lack in practical learning. It's so ironical that in whole 5 years of law, we never have a law firm visit or court visit, nothing of that sort. And we are
Exactly.
studying law. It's so paradoxical in
Exactly.
nature.
Exactly. Yes. Yes, it is definitely.
Ma'am, and just one more question in regards to what I asked. Ma'am, this whole law school, private law school, Jindal, etc., happening right now, like I gave my CLAD in 2019 with
Hmm.
approximately 55,000 students appearing.
Right.
Eventually,
Right.
it started increasing at a rate of 10% more, 15% more,
Uh,
and
uh,
right now, I believe 75,000 or more than that people are appearing for CLAD. I'm
okay.
saying in this situation, if you were to guide a law aspirant or a CLAD aspirant in
Hmm.
regards with choosing a particular college, what would play a more emphatic role in that? The location of that college, or
Hmm.
the curriculum of that college, or the
Hmm.
placement of that college? What would be the determining factor?
I think honestly speaking, like we've just spoken about the curriculum, I definitely feel that curriculum more or less is just the same across most of the
Hmm.
colleges. It's just a myth. Like I've seen so many students walk up to me and say that, no, you're from NLU Jodhpur, which is why you were taught better subjects, or like, you were taught in a better manner. I don't agree to that. It's literally the same. The quality of education is kind of the same everywhere. So
Okay.
I don't think curriculum plays a very vital role per se, unless of course it's some college like Jindal, they really offer very good courses and like
Hmm.
definitely very good professors. So I would definitely, in hindsight, if given a chance, I would have maybe picked Jindal also over, my law school. But the fact remains that yes, definitely locational advantage is one very good thing. So for instance, say GLC is there, right? So
Hmm.
GLC, or I've seen. So while I was doing my compulsory internship with Sam, while I
Hmm.
was in the Bombay office,
Yes, ma'am.
I saw so many GLC students doing long-term internships, in that area. So I feel that yes, locational advantage does have a role to play. So you should definitely look at that. You should also look at the alumni base, that how old or new the college is. So for instance, if you're a part of the batch of a very famous college, so for I don't want to name any college, but like say if it's an ABC college and
Yes, ma'am.
it's a very famous college, great placements, but they've opened a new campus, and that new
Hmm.
campus you are maybe say one of the first people in the graduating batch. I wouldn't suggest you to, definitely
Exactly.
never suggest you to take it up, because it does not have as many perks as the original college would have, right? So you should also see that which graduating batch is this, what is the alumni base, where are they situated. Try and approach people on LinkedIn and see that, like where are they placed in life, how much help did the college give. And I would definitely make people maybe aware, if that's the correct line, that please go and check the website like don't rely on the website of the college. Like if they say
Okay.
there's 100% placement, I don't think it's 100%. I mean, the fact that you're also laughing makes, like, the fact, it's
Very
very
clear.
obvious
Yes,
that
ma'am.
it's never 100%, not even for the best of the best colleges, in the country. It's never 100% placement. So please don't rely on that. Don't just go by what they tell you. There are many different ways to manipulate that 100% figure also. So which is why I think you should really go and talk to the existing students and the people who graduated. And LinkedIn is, I think, the best place ever to uh, like interact with these people, and people are receptive. It's not like
They
if you
do
reach out to
respond.
the first person, they may not reply back to you, but if you reach out to like say 10, 20 people, you will definitely get some satisfaction.
Ma'am, the very fact that you are here with us means LinkedIn is receptive.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Great. Yeah.
you've busted this myth a lot of times, but just to have the debate end here in regards with
Yes.
NLU and private law colleges. There are a
Right.
lot of NLUs coming up right now. One in the recent one being in Sonipat, wherein we've
Okay.
had a lot of controversy in regards with people being taught or not. Again, one in Manipur, if I'm not wrong, which
Right.
took
Right.
admissions but then said that we are not functional and the children had
Okay.
to wait. Now, in regards with this, I had a lot of people approaching our page telling me
Hmm.
that raise our voice in regards with what do we do. We've already
Hmm.
taken a drop. We've wasted so many years, and then even after getting the admission, we are being dropped off. Ma'am,
Right.
so how would you, as a very senior person here, cater this
I mean,
situation?
see, honestly speaking, if you're dropped off the college, there's nothing that you can possibly do, right? Like, you'll have to sit for the exam again,
True.
honestly
Yes,
speaking.
true.
That's the technical part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But if, say, you're not dropped off the college and, if, like, they're still functioning and there's hardly anything happening,
Mm-hmm.
you have to take a final call that whether you want to stick to such an institution that's doing literally zero things for you. That's the first thing. And if you're still wanting to be a part of it for whatever financial or other reasons, then you might as well be a part of it. But then you have to take care of your co-curricular activities, your other internships. You have to make an effort to study on yourself, and you have to get in touch with people from other better colleges within your league, right? So that's one thing that I always tell people, that always go and network with people who are in colleges that are better than you, because they'll give you access to information that your college can never give you, right? So that's one thing. Secondly, if you feel that I don't want to be a part of such an institution, and it's just been like say 6 months or 4 months or
Mm-hmm.
a year that I've been here, taking a drop doesn't matter at all. Like, you can still again, like, say, take a drop and like sit for a better college the next year, right? So I feel that just getting stuck to an institution because you've gotten an admission there and you fear the drop in your resume
Mm-hmm. Yes,
doesn't make any sense to me personally, because recruiters don't care about the drop before you enter the law school. They care about the drop after you finish law school and what were
very
you
true.
doing there.
Yes,
So if a gap comes after law school, that becomes problematic. A gap before that, I've seen people taking like literally 2 3 years drop even for CLAT examination. So, and they've not faced any repercussions in regard to that, right? So again, it's your call, personal call, that whether you want to still stick to the institution because of whatever personal reasons, and we completely honor that. And if you don't want to, then like prepare for the other exam and like become a part of a better college. And if nothing works out, honestly speaking, networking is the real
yes.
answer for everything. It has always worked for me, always worked for too many other people. Go out and talk to people. You're going to get access to such information that no one else, will give it to you in your hand. Like, you have to go out and seek that information.
Now, so in conclusion, what you meant is that it really does not matter if you take a drop or not before your law school. It's just that take that
Doesn't
best chance.
at all. It doesn't matter at all. Yes.
Understood. Ma'am, you mentioned the word itself, internship. This has to be the most dreadful word of the whole 5 year course which we have. People are using their contacts from, from north to south,
Everywhere.
east to west,
Yeah.
just to get that one internship of 1 month, pulling in their hard money, everything. Ma'am,
Right.
what is this tier one thing, tier two thing? Why is it so?
Yeah, so see, I think technically tier one, tier two are, decided by a lot of organizations, like validly placed organizations like say Legal 500, Chambers Partners, etc. All of those.
Mm-hmm.
And it has some basis. It's not like just because that there's this one coveted firm and that becomes tier one. It depends on a lot of factors. So, like, say, if you have a particular number of employees, only then you're going to become tier one. If you have so many number of deals in a year, only then you're going to become tier one. If you have ease of working for employees, only then you're going to become tier one. If there's extra client satisfaction, while they are getting onboarded within the firm, and how you're handling their case, only then you're going to get called tier one. So I think definitely it's a world apart experience to intern and work at a tier one law firm. I would always suggest people to, I'm not going to shy away from saying it doesn't matter whether it's a tier one or a tier
Just
two
for the
firm.
sake of.
Yeah, but it is a very good experience to just to see how professional they are and how big the stakes are. Like, I can't name the clients obviously, but I've seen so big clients at that I almost have like those sparkling guys, as a student.
Hmm.
Oh my god, like such a big client. I
Heart
am
skips a
working
beat.
on their research note, or I'm working on their DD. But having said that, it's just experience, right? If you want the skill set, you can get from everywhere literally. Now, there's a myth that you can't get the skill set from a tier one law firm, and you should always intern at a smaller tier
Hmm.
firm. It's just a myth. I think it depends on the partner. Like, say, if the partner under whom you're interning, they are willing to give you the work, they'll give it to you in a tier one setup also. They'll give it to you in a tier five setup also, right? So it doesn't really matter for the tier for you to get the skill set. All that matters is the kind of exposure you're getting because of the head of the team, and that's the partner. So it's almost luck based, that where you get the good skill set and you don't. But never shy away from any experience is what I'm saying. Like, yeah. So, like, say, if you're not getting tier one internship, there's no point just losing your head over it. Ki,
Just
okay, now
whiling
my
away
life
your
is
time
gone,
in
that's
search
the
of
end of
that.
the day. Yeah, so you can always get it from a tier 5, tier 10 organization also. Nobody cares about that. All you need to show is the skill set on the CV. So I've seen people I've seen people doing 20 plus internships. Like when I say 20, I'm not even saying metaphorically. Literally 20 plus
Hmm.
internships in tier one, tier two organizations having zero skill set in that area of law because they've just done it for the sake of doing it, gotten it from like,
Hmm.
wherever. But I've seen people with like literally two, three random internships, but still getting the exact skill set, right? So it's all about practicality attached to your work, and that will take you to places. Maybe now, maybe 2 years down the line, but it will take you to places.
Ma'am, there's a taboo associated with the word पहचान. अरे इसको तो पहचान से मिली, ये तो पहचान से ले
Hmm.
रहा है, मेरी तो पहचान है ही नहीं. Ma'am, so
Hmm.
what is this word पहचान? Is it wrong to take an internship from पहचान?
Definitely not wrong. See, I'll tell you what. Now, I can give you my example. Say, if I'm from NLU Jodhpur
Mm-hmm.
and my college, allowed me to have an opportunity that I can sit for an interview with a particular law firm and get an internship. I've almost used my college's reference to get that internship, right? Like, it's not that I applied on my own ki हाँ मुझे internship चाहिए and they replied back
Mm-hmm.
saying that okay, we are giving you an internship. I applied through college for maybe like a few internships that I wanted to get, right? So I used my college reference. Now, for you, for example, hypothetically speaking, say if your college is not giving you that kind of an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity, either A, you apply on your own and you get it, great, perfect, like it worked in your favor. And if it didn't, you need somebody's reference to at least get into the organization, right? And if you do get that reference, you ultimately have to do the work, right? It's not like your reference is going to come and do the work for you.
Exactly, just the starting
I see
point of.
people getting reference internships and performing brilliantly at the organization. Like they were those star interns, who got all PPOs from all law firms, and that's how it worked out for them. So technically speaking, in my opinion, reference is not wrong at all. I'm very pro reference person, and I genuinely feel that if you have a reference, it cuts down on a lot of effort for you to like get into the first internship at least, and then from there on you prove your worth, right? Nobody's stopping you to prove your worth, but just to pull down somebody because they've gotten an opportunity because of reference doesn't make any sense to me in any manner. So if you have a reference, please use it by all means, and
Don't shy
do
away from it because it's
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's about how you make your opportunity the most useful for yourself.
right.
Ma'am, so are we safe to conclude that tier 1 internships do not guarantee you a tier 1 job and tier 5 internships may also guarantee you a tier 1 job if
Yeah,
you know the
definitely. See,
work?
I think the first case is definitely true that tier one internships don't guarantee you a tier one job. Is because I've seen people interning at the wrong times. Like I've seen
Acha.
people, interning in a tier one in first year itself through a reference,
Hmm.
or in the final semester when they've already closed the hirings, etc. So maybe interning at the wrong time is also
Won't be
making a
worthwhile.
difference. Yeah, when in the fact that you don't get a job, or say some law firms, again we can't name it for this interview purpose, but there are a lot of law firms who would want you to at least intern twice or thrice with them before they can even consider you for a PPO opportunity, right? So
Okay.
interning just one time with different law firms also is not making any sense. Or say you intern in very very different teams with different law firms, again doesn't make any sense. Because the area of law is not consistent. So even if you've interned with too many law firms, it doesn't make a difference. Now interning with a tier five, for example, organization,
Mm-hmm.
it may or may not get you a job at a tier one firm because unfortunately tier one and tier two firms are very culture specific firms also. So for
Okay.
example, say you may have interned at a tier 5 organization say multiple times, and
Mm-hmm.
you then apply for a job at a tier 1. They will say that sorry, we can't give you a job just because of the fact that you may not have cultural awareness of how a tier 1 firm works. Now
Okay.
that may or may not sit well with a lot of people, but I technically agree because the efficiency or the sophistication with which they handle their processes
Mm-hmm.
is very different from like a basic organization who's like a tier 5 or a tier 4 organization. So in that case, what I would suggest is, let's say once you've gotten the skill set from a tier 5 or a tier 4 or a tier 3 organization, get a job in a similar setup, and then post that, once you have some work experience of a year or two, 1 or 2 years, then you can definitely move up the ladder and start applying for
After the
jobs.
law school.
Yes, after the law school in a tier 1. So
Okay.
that, yes.
Ma'am, this word itself is pretty interesting, cultural awareness. I've not heard it before and I find it quite intriguing. It might be
Right.
true on various counts. Because if you know
Right.
the work but don't know how to do it amongst
How to
people.
go about, how to
Hmm.
interact with people. Like people don't know the concept of timesheets. People don't know how to send proper emails. They send it
Hmm.
to the partners. They send it to like everybody in the office, etc. they don't know how to maintain worksheets for themselves, etc., right? They don't know how to like say, even write a proper subject line according to that particular law firm. So for
Submission,
instance,
yeah.
if you would have interned in most of the tier 1 law firms, you would have known that there's a thing called SAM format, trilegal format, Luthra format, etc. So if that opinion goes in the market anywhere, people will be able to tell in a second that this
Recognize.
has come from that particular law firm, because you need to adhere to the policy standards of that particular organization. So this is what
True.
awareness about you, and even in the subject lines also, like how you write your emails, how the subject lines are formed, etc. So I think that kind of awareness comes only when you are a part of that system for some 1 or 2 internships. So which is why many law firms don't want to sort of give it away as easily as we
So
would
as
think.
understood.
Yes. Yes.
Ma'am, now that we're done with the topic of internships, let's move on to LinkedIn. Now,
Right.
LinkedIn being the most powerful tool itself, I've been using it since 2018 now, and I've been flabbergasted by the uses of it. But
Right.
still, people don't use it enough. Still, law students do not have
Yep.
awareness about it. They still feel it is boring. They still feel it is irrelevant, or moreover, they feel it is difficult to
Right.
build a profile on LinkedIn or to approach people. How can we just randomly text them for an
Right.
opportunity or something? Ma'am, how would you, I mean, answer this thing for them as to it is not difficult or is it difficult, and how to go about
I
it?
think, honestly speaking, it's almost like AI, right? Like a lot of people are like scared of it. That okay, how are we going to use AI? What is
Exactly.
legal tech? I don't know how we're going to interact with it, etc. I feel the whole idea to use a newer platform or to use a newer technology is to engage with it, right? So
Hmm.
if you're not engaging with the platform, if you're not like spending time with the platform, you're never going to understand how to use it. Like for instance, when Instagram came first, it's not like everybody understood it like in a second, right?
True.
And everybody started using it. Or say when reels came, not everybody knew how to create reels, and people were having so many doubts about how to create like a short form video content,
Hmm.
right? But when people started engaging with it is when they understood how to make proper use of it. So I feel that spending time with the platform is essential for you to understand how to use it and to understand its benefits also. Now for instance, when you said that I've been using LinkedIn since 2018, right? So
Yes, ma'am.
it's been 5 years since you've been using it,
Hmm.
right? So it means that you've spent 5 years of your life engaging with the platform, and that's when you figured out, and you are in a position to tell me today that I've been flabbergasted by the uses of
True.
it and by the benefits of it, right? So similarly, you can't expect somebody to spend 5 minutes on the platform and say that, oh, like, wow, this is like a great platform, right? They will never believe both of us when we say that please use LinkedIn and you're going to get benefits out of it, because you have to learn it the hard way. You need to spend your time on the platform for you to get results, right? I
First
can
hand
never get
experience.
results. Yeah, I can never get results for anybody else. They'll have to do it for themselves. Or what they can do is they can definitely replicate some of the strategies that other people have for using or creating content on the platform, etc. So in that ways, I feel that people are not willing to spend time, and I feel that's the problem with our generation, that we don't have patience in
True.
terms of getting a result out of something. We want it instantly. That okay, say today we've done something, the next day we should get a result, and sometimes we do also. Say we send a cold message to somebody and then we get a reply instantly. We feel really good, and the next time we don't get a reply, so we get
We feel sad.
demotivated.
True, ma'am.
So which is why I think that we need to be patient enough to get the result. We need to spend time with it.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. I'm audible?
Hi. Yes, I'm so sorry. I think
No,
something
not an issue.
happened at my.
Not an issue, ma'am. Ma'am, so, ma'am, is it safe to say that LinkedIn right now is inevitable for students and somewhere down the line you have to come on it? Will it replace the
I
whole.
mean, definitely, I feel that, like, say, when people tell me that, I'm Ashna, I'm a first generation lawyer and I don't have any references, and my college is also not very helpful in terms of, me getting an internship or a job opportunity. You have to make your own contacts, right? Like, that's the point. Like, if you don't have contacts, you don't have college support, either you apply on your own, and the chances are very slim that,
Minimal?
you could just get an internship by just you applying to a law firm.
True.
I'm not saying it's zero, but the chances are slim, obviously, right?
Absolutely.
Now, on the other hand, if the chances are also slim, you don't have a reference, the college is also not helping you, there has to be some other way for you to apply, right? And that is through LinkedIn, I feel. So LinkedIn can get you the contacts that will help you to apply to a law firm or to any other organization also for that matter, right? So I think in that sense, I feel that LinkedIn at this point in time has become like a very essential thing for a law student's life. That's the first thing. And I feel for generally also even for professionals as well. So like say when you look at the most leading law firm of the country, for instance, say Khaitan, right? And you look at their partner profiles, partners have literally started coming onto LinkedIn and started giving video snippets of some of the concepts in corporate laws, in mergers and acquisitions, etc. Why? Because they care about their personal branding also. So for LinkedIn is very essential for your personal brand as well. Like say tomorrow people are going to come and give you clients because of who you are and not because of a random organization that you're a part of, right? It's
Very
because
true.
of who you are as a person. So for instance, it's very simple. Say if there's a partner at Khaitan and they have really good clientele, and if that partner shifts to any other law firm, say Sam, right? That partner is still going to get a lot of clients is because of who they are essentially at the moment, right? And not only because of the organization that they are a part of. So LinkedIn, I feel, is very helpful in creation of personal brand for a lot of budding lawyers and for a lot of fresh graduates, and at least for people till 10 years of experience, because post that it all your work speaks about yourself. But I think till 10 years LinkedIn is like a very essential tool for you to create a personal brand for free of cost. And there's huge potential in the platform. So I feel that yes, as a student, for you to get opportunities for internships, and as somebody who's graduated and is already working for creation of their personal brand, I think LinkedIn is a very vital tool as well.
Understood, ma'am. And I personally believe that this should also be a part of our school curriculum. If
Yeah,
any.
definitely. Why not? I mean, say if they are honestly, I went to one college and I think it was Ramaya, if I'm not wrong. So they
Mm-hmm.
called me for a workshop on usage of social media platforms for law students, and I was very intrigued that a law school is organizing this kind of a workshop for their students, where they're inviting somebody to just speak on social media. Like,
True.
social media is literally always termed as the devil in most of the situations. And, when people who are not millennials, who are not Gen Z, and somebody who's older than a millennial also, they don't understand, social media. They don't want to understand social
Exactly.
media.
They don't want
And
to.
if they are inviting somebody to speak on a topic such as social media for their law students, I really felt, that was phenomenal. And, that's something that
Every law school should
I
do.
felt that, it was new. And I felt that, people are trying to change their mindset about it. So, yeah, definitely. I think some law schools are definitely paying heed to it. A lot of law schools don't put it as social media, but I've been to law schools, where they've sort of asked me to hold sessions on LinkedIn optimization or say networking through LinkedIn. So I'm at least happy that there's a first step
First
towards
step.
it, right?
True.
People are willing to conduct workshops on the same. But yes, there's a long way to go, before you can convince somebody to be on LinkedIn just to create their personal brand or to get any opportunities.
Ma'am, but I'm very sure if we have people like you, the way would be cut short easily.
Thank you. You're too kind. Thank you. Thank you.
Ma'am, when we are nearing the end of this conversation, ma'am, one thing which I would want to ask is what is the relevance of publications and competitions in a law student's life? Ma'am, people fear that अब तो fourth year आ गया, एक भी national moot court नहीं हुआ, अब कैसे करेंगे? एक भी publication नहीं हुआ, and seldom they also go into these paid publications वाला setup where they
Right.
pay journals 450, 350 and get their articles published, and then they realize that there is no logic of it. There's no
Right.
ISBN or ISSN number. Ma'am, so
Right.
in regards to this, what would you suggest to students that when should they start? Because always as law students, we feel that we are late for everything.
Right, right. So I think if we talk about publications, first of all, in isolation and everything, I feel that I'm a very, very strong proponent of publications. I feel publications have the ability to spin around your life in law school is because of the fact that it shows direct inclination towards law.
True.
So very simple example. Say if I'm applying for an M&A internship at a law firm and I don't have any other M&A experience on my CV, right?
Okay.
Obviously the law firm is going to reject me saying that, you have no experience. Sorry, we can't give you an internship. However, if I have a good publication wherein, say, for instance, say if I analyze the topic of Adani taking over NDTV and analyzing its impact on corporate governance and the independence of board, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, when the reader is going to read it on my resume and my cover letter also, that she's written something which is so complex and she's analyzed its impact on corporate governance and the independence of board with a topic so niche and so recent, they are going to feel that she may not have experience, but she has the theoretical knowledge. Because to analyze this topic, she would have had to read the takeover code. She would have had to read corporate governance concepts. She would have had to read concepts pertaining to independence of boards and the duties and responsibilities of board. How the board structure changes when one organization acquires another organization, right? So they are at least going to put in the effort to interview me. Now, I'm not saying all organizations are going to do it, but even if one does, your job is done, right? So I feel that publications, now when I say publications, good publications, have a very direct inclination towards law. Now I've seen students publishing on topics like, Evolution of Companies Act in India. I don't see the relevance. Both of us can literally, literally Google it and find out the exact paper in like 2 minutes and, even lesser than that.
Quite
right?
generic in terms of its nature.
Exactly. And there's too much literature available on it already, right? So what is the need to write on something that already exists as a concept? Now, say I've seen so many people saying that I'm interested in M&A. Now, when I ask them, okay, can you tell me something about, say, the Inox PVR merger? They are very blank. They're like, sorry, we don't know it. Had they put in the effort of actually reading about the merger and writing something on it, they would have had the theoretical base also on it. Never the need to read any commentary after reading the Inox PVR merger. And secondly, they already are commercially aware. So they are very prepared for the interviews as well. And thirdly, they have a good publication on the CV that shows direct inclination towards mergers and acquisitions. Right? So publications, I feel good publications, I have a phenomenal impact on the CV, and they go a long way in terms of all your interviews, in terms of all your internship applications, job applications as well. It makes your life easier. With regard to, and it doesn't matter which national, international, regional level blog you're publishing. And with regard to, say, paid publications also, see, I've changed my mindset as maybe, say, 3 years down the line. I used to feel that all paid publications are bad, right? But as and when I've also grown up as an individual, I've realized that actually, genuinely, some journals do require some payment in terms of the processing charges, because they also have their,
Domain,
the board,
etc.
the board that sits with them and the board that reviews. So they have to hire external people to, review the articles that are sent by the students. So I feel for them to pay those external evaluators also, they would need some amount of basic payment, and for that they have processing charges. Now you also need to see that what kind of a journal is it. Now when you don't have any idea whether it's a peer-reviewed journal or not, whether it's indexed with any organization or not, what is the quality of previous publications, who are the editors, who is the editorial board, etc. in this organization, then there's no point of paying any kind of charges to a particular blog or a journal. But if you feel that yes, this organization has all of these criteria that I just mentioned, some basic processing charges, I don't see any harm in paying that, because it's for the external evaluators.
But how does one choose is also a difficult question. Like, people or students say that they want to write, they have written, but where to publish? Is it
I think the first step is to see that most of the national law schools have peer-reviewed blogs, right? So I think the first place that you can really fall back on is go to every law school's website, maybe say the top 10 law schools website, and see that they all have their own inbuilt journal or a blog. That's the best place for you to go and publish. They don't have any fee, they don't have anything. They're all blind peer reviewed, so it's a best place to publish. Apart from that, there are certain private organizations also, obviously, we can't name them in the interview, but the moment you Google about indexed blogs in India, or say the indexed journals in India, see where all they are indexed. So say if they're indexed with Manu Patra, if they're indexed with SEC Online, if they're indexed with any Harvard related journals, if they're indexed with Hein Online, etc. Of course, they're really good, because indexation also comes with, it's a very prestigious thing to have. Or there are certain subject specific journals also, and again only a good Google search is going to tell you if you're very commercially aware. So for example, India Corp Law blog is a private blog, but it's one of the best in the country because it's run by Professor Umakant. So you need to see who is running it also. So Professor Umakant teaches, I think, corporate laws, if I'm not wrong, still in NUS, right? So NUS is again world number 1 or 2 in this area of law. So again, the point is to see that who runs it also is a good thing. Now, I'm not saying that if a student runs it, it's a bad thing. If a professor runs it, it's a good thing. You also need to see that who all are the editors also in this. What is the procedure through which your blog gets selected? Who all are the previous entrants in the same category of blogs? and then you decide what is the quality of previous publications, and then you decide whether you want to do it. So it will not come in a day. I think it's a very 5 year
process.
process. Like, like you start first year, second year, you do some trashy publications. And then by the end of your 5 years, you have like basic 2, 3 good publications, and that's more than enough. I've seen people doing 20, 30 publications, no use at all.
Not
I can
humanly
guarantee
possible.
that, yeah, I can guarantee that not all are good. I can really guarantee, I can bet my life on that. But yeah, definitely, I think even if you have 2, 3 decent publications by the end of 5 years, in any national, regional, international blog, it doesn't matter. It should just be a relevant publication to your area.
Understood. Ma'am,
And
now when we talk about competitions,
yes.
ma'am, initially we only had this four alphabet word moot. That's it,
Hmm.
nothing besides that.
Right,
But now
right.
we have advocacy competitions, we have opinion writing, judgment writing. Ma'am, so as a mentor, how would you, guide law students with respect to choosing the relevant competition? Because
I
of,
think the first 2, 3 years of law school should be like not even three. I think the first 2 years of law school should be spent in exploring the kind of format that you like, and maybe the third year also, some part of the third year also, the format that you like, because it's not always that, say, if you like moot, I may not be very
Mhm.
comfortable with the format. Maybe a publication is better for me, or say if I'm really good at a mediation competition, maybe a moot court competition may still not be a very good choice for me in terms of the format that I want to be a part of. So I would say that don't over justify your CV with that, okay, that I want to do all kinds of competition because there are 20 different kinds of competitions. I think the format that you feel the most comfortable with, that is, say, maybe a moot court, or an ADR, or a client counseling competition, or a publication, etc. I feel you should go ahead with it. But I still feel personally, as on date, maybe maybe in the later years I might change my opinion on this. I feel that moot court is one thing that you should still have an experience of. Why? Because moot court is very specific to a law student. Like, you would never see a CA student or an MBA
true.
student, or any other category of student, like a science student, taking part in a moot court. It's a very law specific competition and a very old archaic thing that's still functional as on date. So just for experience, I feel that moot court still holds some relevance, and you should at least have one experience in it. If you don't like the format, that's okay. But just to have that experience and to feel, something as aligned with the legal fraternity and, say, with the law school community, I think definitely you should take part in it. But again, if you don't, there's no hard and fast rule that you will not get a job.
Exactly.
You get a job just because you've done it. If you don't feel comfortable, that's completely fine. But then please compensate with anything else.
Other
Like, it's not
competitions.
like you're not doing moot court also, there's no publication also, there are no internships also, you have really bad marks also. So that doesn't work. That-
Understood. Ma'am, in order to, the last question which I have for you today is, ma'am, for example, we know our academics well, we know internships well, we know databases well, but we law students right now lack in basic qualities, like how to operate Word is something
Hmm.
which we discover only in internships and not ever in law school, or how
Right.
to make, PPTs besides making them on Canva or PowerPoint, or how to draft opinions, how to communicate our ideas. Ma'am, these are certain skills which I personally believe are lacking in every law student just because they are not being aware of it or they are not being taught, and these are very essential when you go to the actual workplace. So, ma'am, how would
Right.
you, suggest us to?
Honestly speaking, these are acquired skills. These are not learned skills. So I
Okay.
can very well tell you that you can literally go to the Microsoft's website, and they have too many tutorials for Excel and Word and all of these, and PowerPoint also, etc. Right? But you will just learn the concept, and that's it. So it's as simple as, say, Manupatra, of knowing how to operate Manupatra. Like I can tell you 20 tricks on how to operate Manupatra, but the next time when you operate it, if you don't have practice, you will
Won't be
forget all
able
of
to.
those, or you will struggle with the 20 tips that I've told you, right? So I think it comes with practice. It's an acquired thing. You can't sit down one day, one fine day, and decide that, okay, today I'm going to learn Microsoft Word, or today I'm going to learn making a PPT. It comes with experience, so you need to be just open to feedback maybe, and like jump onto the opportunity of doing it. So for example, say, if there's a submission in law school that you have to make in terms of, say, a memorial that you're submitting. Maybe your law school doesn't care a lot about, hypothetically speaking, maybe, say, your law school doesn't care about, say, good formatting, or how the memorial is presented, etc. But if you put in the extra effort of actually presenting it in a good manner, or in a proper formatted, well formatted manner, there are very numerous free tutorials available on YouTube. We don't need to speak about that. So if you put in the effort in a better manner, of course it's going to benefit you in the longer run, because you have that one additional practice which your peers didn't have, right? Or say when you're submitting a note while you're at an internship, I have seen myself people submitting horrendous notes, while they are at internships. Like there's no proper formatting, there's no underlining, there's zero, like it's not even justified. The text is not even justified. It's all center aligned
Very
sometimes,
sad to see.
left aligned, and I've seen literally right aligned texts also, at internships. So again, like it's your personal effort, I feel, and you should be open to feedback as well. So the more feedback you take from somebody under whom you're interning, from your seniors while you're submitting memorials, etc., the more you're going to acquire those skills, and the more practice you're going to put into it, the better the acquisition of the skill. So I don't think we need to burden ourselves by thinking that, okay, like I'm really bad at it or I'm struggling with it, etc. Everybody struggles with it in the first go.
Okay.
But it's just that you need to be just open to learning it in the next opportunities that you get. You need to take initiative to learn it yourself. Only then will you be good.
Understood, ma'am. Thank you so much. Ma'am, what is that one last message which you would want to give to law students in order to help them plan their 5-year long period course in a more better manner, in terms of they're not ending up in the 5th year being frustrated?
Right. I think honestly speaking, see again, if I start continue to give that answer, it's going to take another 2 hours. But like just to like put it on a lighter note, also I feel that I think be more in the present. Most of the times, what law students tend to do is either they tend to live in the past and think that, oh my god, I wasted so many years,
True.
ab kya hoga, right? Or they tend to live in the future that, oh my god, I'm about to graduate in like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years.
मैं ये रोज कर
What
रहा हूँ.
how do I plan about it, right? And they forget that what's happening in the present. And I know it looks very cliched, but trust me, I've been through that. Look, so when my entire 4th year went in future, this thing worrying that, oh my god, like I started with my 4th year, what will happen? How will I get a PPO? How will I get a job, etc. And the kind of impact it had on my physical and mental health is something, honestly speaking, I'm still struggling with it. Like I still have that trauma, from my 4th year of law school. I still have those mental health implications, the anxiety that I developed. I still have that anxiety even till date. Like it's been 5 years since I, stepped out of law school. I
Graduated.
still have that anxiety. I'm still struggling to understand that anxiety, right? So I think be more in the present. You just have to trust your hard work. You just have to trust your skill set. That if I have the skill set, if I'm check marking all boxes, I will get an opportunity. Because you can't work on a pessimistic side. Ki, oh, I have check marked all the boxes, and I will still not get an opportunity. Because then you can be pessimistic about everything in life, right? You have to be on the optimist side that, okay, if I've check marked everything, if I have the practical skill set, I am an employable person. Maybe today, maybe 6 months down the line, I will get an opportunity, right? And for whatever you do, always have a backup if it's a risky opportunity. So, for example, if you're sitting for a competitive exam, if you're sitting for something that's a little out of the line, always have a backup. Like do your internships on time, have proper publications, etc. And don't afraid to seek help. Like sometimes, like even I was this kind of a student in law school, like DIY, ki har cheez khud figure out, and that sort of delayed a lot of my progress while I was in law school. So the first 2 years I DIY'd too many things and I lost out too much time. Which in hindsight I felt that I could have simply gone up to somebody and asked them. They would have never said no to explaining those things to me. I would have saved 2 years of my law school in understanding those things. So I think never afraid in asking for help. Be more in present. And don't compromise your mental health for anything. Like literally speaking, like it's not worth it for any literal thing. Like somebody gives you a job at a top tier firm today, but if it compromises your mental health, you're going to see its effect very soon. So might as well just don't compromise on it and work at your own pace. Don't compare your journey with anybody. It's not worth it at all. So comparison is literally suicide, professional suicide for you. So yeah, that.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming here. For you to show up on a Friday morning at 9 a.m. speaks highly of your value systems. To give us your 45 minutes of guidance is something which we are really grateful for. I'm sure this podcast interview, whenever it goes on air, will genuinely help people. And thank you so much, ma'am. We are really grateful to have you.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Yes.